Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I know this video is little delayed because my offline colleges have already started and so schedule has become very tight. Okay, so this video is on spinal cord part 2, white matter. I hope you guys are enjoying this learning process. Do give me reviews in the comments and now let's get on to the video. So, white matter of spinal cord, which are the tracts, the ascending and the descending tracts. So firstly, what are tracts? Tracts are collection of nerve fibers or axons in the central nervous system having the same origin, course and termination. Simple. Now classification of tracts, they are of two types, ascending and the descending. So ascending tracts conducts impulses from the spinal cord to the brain and the descending tracts conducts impulses from the brain to the spinal cord. So in this video we are going to cover only about the ascending tracts and the next video will be on the descending tracts. So ascending tracts, basically there are three groups: the dorsal column tract, spinothalamic tract and the spinocerebellar tract. Now what are the dorsal column tract? Let's see. Suppose this is the spinal cord and this is the H-shaped grey matter, the central canal. This part is the dorsal column of the white matter, where the dorsal column tract lies. Then this part, on both the sides, they are the lateral column tracts, and this part is the anterior column of the spinal cord. So dorsal column tract, they are of two types, fasciculus gracilis and the fasciculus cuneatus. Gracilis also known as tract of Gohl and the cuneatus also known as tract of Burdak. How to remember it? Fasciculus gracilis G and tract of Gohl G. So Gohl and gracilis GG, you have to remember in that way. So they are present in the dorsal column tract, means here. Now spinothalamic tracts, they are anterior and the lateral spinothalamic tract. So the anterior one lies in the anterior white column and the lateral one lies in the lateral white column. Third is the spinocerebellar tract. They are anterior and posterior. So these both tracts lie in the lateral column. Anterior spinocerebellar tracts lies anterior in the lateral white column and posterior spinocerebellar tract lies posteriorly in the lateral white column. So first we will study about the details of the dorsal column, also known as dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway. Why? We will see here. So basically this dorsal column is responsible for the modern sensations. Modern sensations like the sense of proprioception, vibration and two-point discrimination. So the receptors for those sensations are receptors like Meissonier's, Pacinian, muscle spindle and the Golgi tendon. Sensations of proprioception, two-point discrimination and vibration are carried from the body parts to the dorsal root ganglion, where the first order neurons terminate. So in this diagram, let's see. You can see from the body, the neurons, the first order neurons come and they terminate in the dorsal root ganglion of the spinal cord. Now from there, the axon continues in the posterior white column. So from here it goes here. This is the posterior white column. It goes up till here and then fibers of fasciculus gracilis and cuneatus run up to nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus. So where are the nucleus? We find the nucleus gracilis and cuneatus in the medulla oblongata. So the peripheral two blue ones are the nucleus cuneatus and the green ones are the nucleus gracilis. So in the middle are the gracilis and laterally there are nucleus cuneatus. So the fibers after the posterior white column runs upwards and terminate in their respective nucleus. So just remember one thing, that the fasciculus gracilis, they are always present medially and the fasciculus cuneatus are always present laterally. So the gracilis one, it carries sensation from the lower part of the body and they converge upwards medially, and the sensations from the upper part of the body, they converge laterally. Okay. After the second order neurons come to the respective nucleus, that is gracilis and cuneatus, there is decussation. Decussation means crossing of fibers. So fibers from the left side cross here and fibers from this side cross here. So these fibers come like this. So if you can see, there is crossing of fibers. These crossing of fibers is known as internal arcuate fibers. So after the crossing of fibers, they run upwards as a single mass known as medial lemniscus. So let us understand the difference between fasciculus and lemniscus. Both are mass of fibers, but fasciculus is like this, cylindrical, and lemniscus are flat masses. So here we see the lemniscus. Okay. This medial lemniscus travels upwards and then third order neurons terminate in the thalamus. We will learn about thalamus in the further videos. So basically there are many nucleus in the thalamus. One nucleus is known as ventral posterolateral nucleus. So the third order neurons, they terminate in the ventro-posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus, and then the fibers project to the postcentral gyrus of the cerebral cortex. Now what is postcentral gyrus? Let's see. Suppose this is the cerebral cortex. This is the central sulcus, and behind the central sulcus here lies the postcentral gyrus. This is the area where all the sensory information is accumulated and analyzed, and then respective responses given out. So this was all about the dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway. Let us revise this very quickly. So sensations from the receptors are carried to the dorsal root ganglion of the spinal cord. So here is the first order neuron. Then from here the axons travel to the posterior white column. They ascend upwards into their respective nucleus. The fasciculus gracilis terminate in the nucleus gracilis, and the fasciculus cuneatus terminate in the nucleus cuneatus. From there the fibers decussate. This decussation is known as internal arcuate fibers. These fibers then ascend upwards as the medial lemniscus. The medial lemniscus goes up till the thalamus, that is the ventro-posterolateral nucleus, where there are the third order neurons, and from there the fibers project to the postcentral gyrus of the cerebral cortex. Very simple. Now another pathway is the spinothalamic tracts. Now these tracts are responsible for the sensations like pain, temperature, crude touch, soft touch, and all that. Okay, so what could be the receptors for all those sensations? They are free nerve endings, thermal receptors, etc. So these receptors receive the stimulus. Then the first order neurons are there in the dorsal root ganglion. So from the receptors, here we find the first order neurons. Then the second order neurons are in the dorsal gray horn, that is the substantia gelatinosa. If you do not know what is substantia gelatinosa, please refer to my video on spinal cord part 1. I will mention it in the I button, that is on the top right corner. Okay, so here is the substantia gelatinosa. So the second order neurons terminate here. Then now there are two types of spinothalamic tracts, that are the lateral and the anterior. So the lateral spinothalamic tract is in the lateral white column and anterior one is in the anterior white column. So after substantia gelatinosa, the lateral spinothalamic tract travel up to the lateral white column, and the anterior spinothalamic tract travel up to the anterior white column. From there they ascend upwards and same travel to the VPL nucleus of the thalamus, and then to the postcentral gyrus of the cerebral cortex. Now you may think, what is this blue ring type that I have drawn and what are these green lines? So I'll explain you in the next slide. First, let us learn about the lateral spinothalamic tract. It carries pain and temperature sensation, as I said before. So for pain, there are two types of fibers, the A delta fibers and the C fibers. A delta fibers are responsible for the fast pain, that is, if I prick you, that is fast pain. And C delta fibers are responsible for the slow pain, that is the throbbing pain, like if you have a stomach ache from a longer time, that is slow pain. The C fibers are responsible for that kind of pain. Now the C fibers terminate in the reticular formation, while the A delta fibers terminate in the VPL nucleus of the thalamus. So where is this reticular formation? It is present in the brainstem. So this is the brainstem. like this, the reticular formation is present. It is responsible for sleep and consciousness sensations. Okay. So the reticular formation is basically formed by the mixture of white and the gray fibers. So the slow pain fibers, they terminate in the reticular formation, while the fast pain fibers, they terminate in the thalamus. This was about the lateral spinothalamic tract. And for the anterior, as I said, they carry sensation for the crude touch and pressure. Now, what is that blue ring type? Let us learn now. In medulla oblongata, together with the lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract, spinotectal tract also combines. So, this green one is spinotectal tract. They combine in medulla oblongata with the lateral spinothalamic tract and the anterior spinothalamic tract. They together form spinal lemniscus, and these three together traverses upwards. So in the first one we learned about the medial lemniscus. Here these three together form the spinal lemniscus and they traverse upwards. The spinotectal pathway, it terminates in the tectum of the midbrain, while these two travels upward to the thalamus. So this was all about the spinothalamic pathway. Let's just revise it very quickly. So the free nerve endings and thermal receptors receive the stimulus from here. Then the first order neurons are in the dorsal root ganglion of the spinal cord. From here they travel up to the substantia gelatinosa, the second order neuron. Then the lateral spinothalamic tract to the lateral white column and the anterior spinothalamic tract to the anterior white column. They traverse upwards. They meet the spinotectal pathway. They form the spinal lemniscus. The spinotectal pathway terminates in the midbrain, the tectum, and the other two pathways, they travel up to the thalamus, that is the VPL nucleus, and then finally up to the postcentral gyrus of the cerebral cortex. Now the third and the final tract is the spinocerebellar tract. So as the name suggests, spinocerebellar. So from spinal cord to the cerebellum. They carry unconscious proprioception from spinal cord to the cerebellum and play a role in muscular coordination. So firstly, the posterior spinocerebellar tract. See, both the posterior and the anterior spinocerebellar tract lies in the lateral white column. Remember this. First, the posterior spinocerebellar tract. The first order neuron, as usual, is in the dorsal root ganglion. Then, fiber enters the posterior gray column, where it terminates in the nucleus dorsalis, which is the second order neuron. Again, what is nucleus dorsalis? You can refer my video on spinal cord part 1. So from the dorsal root ganglion to the posterior gray column, where we find the Clark's nucleus. Then axons then pass to the dorsolateral part of the spinal cord on the same side and ascends up. So this is the lateral white column. The posterior spinocerebellar tract is in the dorsal part of the lateral white column. So from nucleus dorsalis, this fiber comes here and then ascend upwards. After that, they terminate in the cerebellum via the inferior cerebellar peduncles. So in the cerebellum, there are 3 cerebellar peduncles, the superior, the middle and the inferior one. So the posterior spinocerebellar tracts, they terminate in the inferior cerebellar peduncles and enter the cerebellum. Now let's learn the anterior spinocerebellar tract. So first order neuron, as usual, dorsal root ganglia. Then fibers enters the posterior white gray column, where it terminates in the nucleus dorsalis, same as posterior spinocerebellar tract, which is the second order neuron. Okay. Then axons pass through the dorsoventral part of the spinal cord on the opposite side and ascends up. So the posterior one was on the same side, but the anterior one, after traveling the dorsal root ganglion and the nucleus dorsalis, it traverses to the opposite side lateral white column and then it travels upwards. After that, it terminates in the cerebellum via superior cerebellar peduncle, where they again cross to the opposite side. So from here to the superior cerebellar peduncle and to the cerebellum. Now why these fibers have again crossed to the opposite side? Because once they have crossed to the opposite side, we want that the sensations in the cerebellum remain ipsilateral, that is on the same side. See, in the above two tracts, what we have learned is, if the sensations are from this side, the fibers somehow travels upwards and cross to the other side. and from this side they travel to this side. So this is known as contralateral sensation. But in the cerebellum, it is not the case. Always the sensation from this side are analyzed by the same side cerebellum, and same with this side. Now what is the problem happening here? We see that the anterior spinocerebellar tract crosses to the opposite side, and we don't want that, right? We want it on the same side. So once it crosses, it again tends to cross to come on the same side. For example, if something has already crossed but we want it to be here, so again we will tell it to cross. So that is the same case with the anterior spinocerebellar tract. It crosses twice to come to the original position. So here it crosses twice to come to the original position. This was it for the topic. I know it seems a little confusing, but trust me, it is super simple once you practice it by drawing diagrams on your own. I have tried to make it very easy for you people. I hope you liked it. If yes, then do comment and share it with your friends. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Signing off, this is Palak Sangai. Goodbye.